wisdom,
prudentia,
justice,
justitia,
temperance,
temperantia,
courage.
fortitudo.
Applying ancient philosophy to modern life, this is the Sunday Stoic.
Welcome to the Sunday Stoic Podcast. Steve coming to you here from Conway, Arkansas. Here in Arkansas, most people are celebrating Easter, a celebration of rebirth, of life. Much like Persephone coming out of Hades, if you know the Greco-Roman tradition where Persephone went into the underworld and her mom, Demeter, missed her, mourned her, and so winter came. And then when Persephone emerges from the cave, as it were, of Hades, then life returns, analogous to the story in the Christian tradition. Either way, spring is returning here in the northern hemisphere. And right now it's thundering outside. It's pouring down rain. And it's time to think about rebirth, regrowth, emerging from our winter training. Hopefully we didn't get too fat over winter. We were undergoing winter training, and now we're about to enter into the fray once again. And for those of us who live in cities, maybe there's no big difference. I live in the country. I have a 5 acres of I call it meadow that I sort of maintain. I only mow part of it, really, but I have a lot to do when it's nice out. It's my own fault. I have 5 acres, but I enjoy seeing nature on a regular basis. I tie my, let's just call it spiritual well-being to being able to enjoy nature. Even if I'm not in the middle of a woods where I can't hear cars and neighbors and planes, just having deer behind my house, goldfinches in my feeder like this morning. Seeing the life return, being connected in some way other than a television to the cycles of nature is important for my well-being. It's part of who I am. It's part of my nature. Perhaps you are the same. Perhaps you are different. Perhaps you use what season of a sports ball is in session to kind of feel the flow of time each year. I like to focus on the natural cycles as we go. That's where I get some of my connection with what I might call the logos, which is just my definition might be the patterns of nature. Not necessarily a logos that knows my name or can think and process information, but a logos meaning the patterns of nature that arise thanks to the emergent properties of the way things work in the universe, the way nature is. The way nature is what it is, regardless of what I think of it. And we can contemplate these somewhat deep or perhaps deep-sounding ideas as we gaze out the window at the rain. And that's what I've been doing a little bit this morning. So this week we are going to hear from Marcus Aurelius. We are going to continue our readings from chapter 10 of the Meditations. And this week there are 2 different readings. One, he once again is kind of chastising himself. When are you going to do this? When are you going to live up to this? Come on, you can do it. Sort of a pep talk. And the second one, interestingly, according to some notes I've read from other authors, is the only time in the Meditations where he references current events happening at the time in his meditations. Often when we journal, we write about, oh, this happened to me today. Here's how I handled it, etc. But Marcus doesn't do that. Marcus focuses purely on philosophical ideas. Now, he'll chastise himself, but he doesn't say exactly what happened to make him want to do that. He talks about philosophy. He talks about his experiences, but in an abstract way. But in this case, he mentions the Germanic tribes he was at war with at the time, the Sumerians or the Samarians, however it's pronounced. And it's kind of an interesting just factoid that he references these individuals that he And he's actually doing it to deflate his own ego, which is sort of interesting as well. So let's go to the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, and then we'll chat about it. The Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, Book 10, Number 9. Plays, warfare, terror, torpor, servility will daily wear away these holy principles of yours, which in your study of nature you hastily conceive and let go again. Upon all occasions, you should look and act in such a manner as to omit neither the perfect performance of business nor the activity of thinking, to be modest in the consciousness of your improvement, but not so far as to undervalue your knowledge, and keep it out of sight. When will you relish simplicity? When gravity? When will you be able to understand everything, to pronounce upon its nature and its place in the universe, to calculate its continuance and the ingredients it is made up of, who are likely to be affected by it, and what powers they are which can both give and take it away? Number 10. A spider, when it has caught a fly, thinks it has done some great deed. And so does a sportsman when he has run down a hare, and a fisherman too when he has caught a sprat in a net. Some others must kill boars or bears before they can grow conceited, and a fourth sort value themselves upon hunting Cimmerians. Though it may be, in this case, if you go to the definition of robbing, the one are as much thieves as the other. All right, in the first reading, plays, warfare, terror, torpor, all these things, all the busyness of life wears away our holy principles. Think of these ideas you have of how you're connected to the cosmos, and you know, if you are religious or spiritual in some way, these things you hold sacred and you're trying to live up to. You're trying to be like your model human, or you're trying to be like the person you're supposed to be, and that's your ideal. But then, oh, crap comes along. You get cut off in traffic. You have to do a big thing for work. Your kid's sick. Da-da-da. You might hear my kid coughing in the background, for example. He's sitting right through this wall watching TV, coughing. But anyway, all of these things wear you down. They take away the ideal self and chip away that veneer, and now you're back to, you know, a mammal who's trying to keep its kids alive or whatever, and it's not necessarily living up to the divine form that you wish for yourself. So he says you come up with these principles by hastily studying nature. Oh yeah, this is what I should do. I should live this way. Yep, that's what I should do. And next thing you know, the tequila's empty and you're mad and your house is messy and you're not living up to any of the principles you said you were going to do. Here in the Catholic tradition that I was raised in, right now we would be experiencing the end of Lent, a time when you would intentionally fast and give up things that you either give up things that you think are important or do things that you think are hard intentionally. And of course, just like a New Year's tradition, it's easy to set goals and then fail at them. But then he gives himself some advice here, just as he's improving, to be modest. Don't say, "Oh, I'm growing, I'm doing great," but say, "Okay, I'm growing," but be modest about it. But at the same time, find the sweet spot of modesty here. The sweet spot I mean by that is don't be boastful, don't undercut yourself, but he says don't undervalue your knowledge. When you learn things, acknowledge, I am growing. I am getting better. But he says keep it out of sight. Once again, don't be like Epictetus' sheep and vomit up the grass and say, look at me, I'm learning stuff. Don't be the Sunday Stoic. Hi, I have a microphone. I'm going to tell you about what happened this week. Woo! Yeah, that's not the point. That might be a niche I have found. A few of you get something out of it, but I'm happy for that. But it's not for everyone to go around saying, look what I did this week. I grew because I read a book. You know, whatever, dude. Use it to grow and improve rather than to vomit up and show off what you've learned. unless it's your role to be a teacher. Then you may do that, right? But keep these things in mind for yourself. Keep it out of sight, except for when you apply it. Then he goes back to his berating himself. When will you relish simplicity? I wish I could do that too, gang. Right now I'm looking at a cluttered ass table in a cluttered house. My house is a wreck. It's always a wreck. I own too much crap. It's everywhere. I long for simplicity, but I don't. But then the next thing you know, you're clicking on Amazon or eBay and you're buying another piece of crap to fill your house with. When gravity? When will you take things seriously? When will you sit down, look in the mirror and say, damn it, I'm going to do this. I keep half-assing this. Much like Epictetus says, you want to be a fireman, you want to be a astronaut, you want to be this, you want to be that. Settle on what you're going to be and do it. Have some gravity there. When will you be able to understand it? This is the hard one. This is when are you going to connect with the divine, I guess? When will you be able to understand everything and then see how cause and effect works and exactly what you should do and just know how it's going to be? I think he's almost saying, when will you be plugged into the Logos and become a sage? I won't hold my breath on me doing that anytime soon. But when will you be content? When will you be a masterful player of the game of life, is what he's saying here. When will you get the rules down enough where you are a master at this, not some bumbling fool? And that's how I feel. When I'm getting by, but I lose a lot of games. And if you look at the chessboard, it's a mess. When will I become a masterful player of this game? The second reading, he says, a spider, just like a hunter, just like a fisherman, thinks that they have something real nice when they've caught a bug, when they've caught a fish, when they've slaughtered a boar. Ah, look what I have done. I am all that is man, right? But he says others extend this out. This is sort of like the Heraclitus's circles of concern, except this is the circle of killing. Oh, I got a fly. Ooh, I got a fish. Ooh, I got a boar. Ooh, I got a human. Right? He says some value hunting Sumerians. These are the folks he was at war with. This is what he was doing at the time. But he says, but if you look at the definition of to rob, as in to steal life in this case, or maybe to make a slave of, everyone in this list is a thief. So once again, he's humbling himself. You're not some great warrior. Look what I have done. I have defeated the enemy. Yeah, you took their lives and you took their stuff. You're a thief. And it goes back to the idea of scale, right? Like, what is it? It's a Monty Python sketch where I think it's Eric Idle or someone who says, oh yeah, it's guys in war, just like this. And it says, if I did what I did today at home, they'd arrest me and they'd hang me. But here they'll give me a medal, right? It's a difference in scale. Does it mean that a fisherman shouldn't eat, or that at times you must go to war? I don't know. That's up for more discussion. But one thing that we've learned from these readings, and as he says in the first reading, you always need to be thinking, not dogmatically accepting, but thinking and improving and making things, the things that can be accepted, almost automatic, so you don't fail anymore. Being tidy. I know people I've never been tidy. I didn't grow up in a tidy house. I don't have the gene. My dad's philosophy probably is he who dies with the most crap wins, and that's part of me too. And I don't like it. I can see it, and I'm trying to go to war with it, but it's strong. But I'm thinking, and I'm trying to become more simple, but it's a battle. But meanwhile, like my mother-in-law, she doesn't listen, so she won't know I'm talking about her. She has, through hard effort as a young person, I think, developed a habit where tidiness, it's still work, don't get me wrong, but it's part of who she is now. I'm not saying I want to be that either. I want an Aristotelian medium here of pretty good would be fine with me. I'm not going to be a sage. I will go out and say that right now. I want to be better than who I am now tomorrow. I'm not planning on reaching the summit. I just hope to die at a higher base camp than the one I'm camping out at right now, up the mountain of the sage. And that's all I hope for anyone. Reach for the summit, reach for the stars, but hopefully you'll at least get a better view before you pass out. So I hope that you think about that. Hope it's a time of renewal for you. If you're in the southern hemisphere, then the climate's different. You might not be thinking about growth and and blooming flowers and hummingbirds like we have here, but that time will come for you as well. It's time to grow. It's time to reflect on who you are, who you want to become, and emerge from your cocoon and go forth and put this stuff into practice. But keep those mental faculties running. Never shut them off. Always be reflecting at the end of the day. How did I do? Am I getting better? I am getting better. But here's where I'm not getting better. Let's try again tomorrow. Have a good week, everyone. Put it all in practice. Email me. Let me know how you're doing. And don't forget to seize the day. Carpe diem.